All right, I'd like to open the March 19th meeting of the Wakefield Conservation Commission. We'll take roll call. Ken,
Here.
and I did make you the co-host, Ken.
Okay.
Haley,
Here.
Jim,
Yeah, here.
Paul is, I think, on vacation. Is that correct?
I thought he said
Paul.
April, but I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Peter is not here yet. Teresa,
Here,
all right. Oh, this Paul. All right, we're just missing Peter at this point. All right, we'll start. First up is the approval of the minutes from March 5th. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor of approving those minutes? Ken,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes,
and I also approve those minutes. Up this, Peter. All right. All right, the first hearing is DEP 313-631-94 Butler Ave. It has been continued to May 7th at the applicant's request. Again, it's 94 Butler Ave. Has been continued to May 7th at the applicant's request. If there's anybody here for Butler Ave. All right, next up. DEP 313-638. That's 457 Lowell Street. Joel and Christine Robinson, continued public hearing, notice of intent for the construction of a 14 by 22 addition with a crawl space and a 4 by 7.5 foot deck and associated grading within a 100-foot buffer to BVW. And Jack, I see you're here for that.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the record, my name's Jack Sullivan. I'm owner of the Sullivan Engineering Group. And we had a meeting with you a couple of weeks ago. It was continued so that the commission could conduct a site walk on the property, and we were also awaiting a DEP file number. As the chairman stated in the introduction, DEP has issued a file number for this project now. So I think I'll turn it over to the commission to hear comments from their site walk and then any questions they might have, and then see if we can close this out.
Yeah, so Elaine did a visit on the Friday before we went out to verify the wetlands line. Elaine, everything good on your end?
Yes, I thought it was all right.
Yeah, I think it was pretty evident with the grading change where the BVW was. All right. Most of the commission did take part in that site walk. Any comments or questions from the commission?
so I guess I wanted to, we looked at some historical photos and it looked like there was once a swimming pool out there. And then that was replaced with the macadam,
Concrete
I guess.
pad.
Yeah, concrete pad. Do you know when that happened? When that swimming pool was taken down?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the owner, Christine, are you able to get on and answer that? You're muted, Christine.
Hi, sorry. There was no swimming pool ever there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
There was never a swimming pool there.
How long have you lived there?
Not that to my knowledge, ever.
Yeah, how long have you lived there or owned the house?
Oh, I can't. I've been there since 2012, 2011.
All right, so it must have predated you living there because the aerial photos did show an above ground swimming pool at one point. When did the basketball court go in?
A year ago.
Okay.
And again, what was there before that court went in?
What was there? There was a tree there. I think, yeah, there was a tree there that we had cut down.
So I guess, was there grass? It was not paved? What was it? That's the question.
It was grass. It was grass.
Okay.
Okay. It was grass.
you-
It was
you
grass. Sorry.
paved
It's just really choppy where I am right now. Sorry.
Yeah, so you paved over where it was grass within, again.
Yeah, it was grass there. Yeah.
Within a buffer zone.
Yeah. I just didn't know if I knew.
Yeah,
We
no, I
just wanted it
understand. Okay.
safe,
But
safe
what
for
was
my
you-
kids. It's
Yeah, I understand but you did that.
yeah, we did that. Yes.
Okay, that's all.
We would have, now we know the rules will obviously come. It's just that it's not safe. One of my kids has autism, so like I need to keep him in the backyard as much as possible.
Okay. Thank you.
Hmm.
All right. Any other questions from the commission?
I think that was our only one, really.
Yeah.
And we had talked about maybe alleviating some of the effect of that paving over by doing some plantings along the fence, Bob.
That's right. We did talk about that on a site walk. I'm not sure if Elaine knew about that conversation or not. But it's something we did talk about, putting something along the fence.
I can send out a list.
Yeah, there isn't really any room on the back side of the
Yeah, on the other
fence.
side of that fence, right?
Yeah, anything would need to go on the front side. Just to kind of create a buffer. Yeah, Elaine, if you could send out a native planting list of something that would work.
It looks like it looks like in that corner where it was kind of low there, it looks like all the water runs down to that corner. So you might want to do something to stop the silt from going over the bank.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe just
planting in
maybe
that corner,
something else or
exactly.
something to slow it down.
How many plantings was the commission considering?
We hadn't really discussed that, but it looks like you're gonna have some, potential erosion issues in that corner of the fence area. So it looks like you might want to do something in that corner anyways to just slow down any water or, uptake.
Christine, would that work for you? Putting some native plantings along the fence lines along the rear of the property and the side?
Sure.
So Christine, I can bring a plant list with me with some of the plants we use, their size,
Oh.
what they look like, and we can stand in your backyard and figure out what works for you.
Okay.
Okay. I'll call
That
you and
sounds
make,
good. Sorry, again, the internet's terrible right here.
all right. I'll call you and we'll set up a time.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay.
Sorry. All right, that sounds perfect. Sorry about this.
Just,
All right, anything else from the commission?
Bob, I just had a question. Wasn't there was a stream down there, wasn't there, or was it just BBW? No, it's just BBW, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
it's just
BBWs.
BBW.
So I mean, would you consider, straightening out that all that land that follows the fence? I mean, just mound it up or something to stop it from eroding. I mean, Elaine's very good at picking out plants and stuff. I'm sure she can help you out with that. But I think we should consider not just that little corner, but I think wherever you think there's some erosion,
But you
just
said on the
have it-
other side of the fence?
What's that?
What side
On
of the
the-
fence?
on the inside of the fence.
Okay, so, on the inside, yeah, more than just the corner, right?
Yeah. I think that would be appropriate. That's the only thing I saw. The only other question I had was how far away was the hot top from the BBW?
From me. Is this
You
for
know?
me?
No,
I
I
have no
think
idea.
it's more to your consultant.
Your consultant should know
Oh,
that.
sorry.
It was
A
fairly
a
close to
little
me.
over 14 feet.
Okay. All right, good enough.
All right, anything else from the commission?
One other thing I'm thinking of is maybe there could possibly be a condition that says if you remove that asphalt, that you would have to replace it with vegetation or grass or something.
It's never gonna be removed. I'll tell you that right now, but yeah,
Okay.
that's okay.
So we'll put some kind of restriction in it that, just so everyone's aware.
Good idea.
Okay.
All right, so can you give me what you're looking for, Jim? So if the impervious surface is removed,
Right, then replace that same area with grass or some type of vegetation.
okay,
Or even potentially pervious pavers,
Yeah,
right? The
Okay.
idea is to not have the water run off that corner.
okay.
it's a maintenance
Ju-
issue.
Jim, just a thought on that. If they were to remove that, it would probably, they'd have to file at least an RDA with you guys.
Yeah.
And at
But
that time, it would have to be
yeah.
dealt with, I would think.
Right, but at least when it can stay, we'll leave that condition out there so that
Okay.
someone's gonna be aware of it when they come to buy the property or something like that. You never know what's gonna happen.
No, it's a good idea. Then it runs with the property. If it ever sold or anything happened, there'd be history of it.
That's it for me.
Anything else from the commission? All right, if not, would somebody like to make a motion to close the public hearing?
Teresa, that's your job.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor? Ken,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes,
Paul,
Yes,
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. All right,
So if I could just
ahead.
add something here, just so they know. It'll take me about a week or so to process all the paperwork. I will send it to you via certified mail. So if you get a certified mail letter or notice of a certified mail within the next 2 weeks, it's your order of conditions.
But Elaine, we haven't talked about the order conditions yet.
Well, with the hearing closed, so I just,
Okay, too soon.
okay, just so you know.
And we could talk about an order later on if,
yeah, I mean, we should be able to, I mean, the two things that we just discussed are probably gonna be what's in.
Okay,
order.
well, the
You-
standard order, as we know, has blanks for
Right.
like areas, so we always have to go through it now.
I know,
Jim,
well, that's, you did it.
I didn't do that. That was not me.
All right, so if we have time after, we'll discuss, an order before wrapping up for tonight.
Because the order
Uh,
has to be issued within 21 days, right? And our next, we have to talk, but the next meeting is in 3
April-
weeks.
April 2nd.
Yeah. Oh, it's
So-
April 2nd. I'm sorry. Sorry, that's sooner than I thought. Sorry about that.
I was gonna say, that's not 21 days.
No, it's not.
All right, so we'll move on to the next topic then. Thank you,
All right.
Christine.
Thank you.
Jack.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Good night.
thank you.
Good night.
All right, night.
All right, we have some other, actually, you know what? There is actually another hearing. That didn't make the agenda.
Yeah.
Actually, it's request for an order of conditions extension,
Right.
52 Bay State Road.
Is that the town project?
No, it's a single family home on the corner of Bay State. John, are you here for that?
Yeah, I'm here if you, the commission has any questions regarding it. It's essentially, an order that was issued by the commission. I don't know if you remember, I was actually at the commission end of last July for a minor modification. This was some additions, a couple of additions, and a porch and a handicap access, or basically a lift that was going on the side of the house. They had modified the way the lift was going to work. The commission approved that as a minor modification. Since then, the homeowner has been going back and forth with contractors and working with architects for the interior, and they finally got on track and they're moving forward. I believe in the letter that we submitted, we stated that they had applied for a building permit. Since then, they've actually received that building permit. So they're planning on moving forward. So the project is moving forward. Just that the order will expire, I believe, April 15th.
Okay, what type of extension are you looking for?
We requested a 2-year.
Okay.
And why 2 years, John? If they could, it can take that long to finish?
It shouldn't, but kind of based on
Just to make sure?
past history. Yeah, just to make sure.
I'm going to share my screen just to refresh the commission regarding the project.
Good idea.
All right, so you can see the proposed addition and wheelchair
porch.
lift and
Yeah,
the porch over here on the right. And all of this is consistent with what you came to us before with, right, in July?
yeah. It was basically we had modified the way the lift and the porch kind of interacted and that walkway, but it was essentially the same.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not really, like I said, we're not really here for the minor modification. We're just here
Right.
to
Extension.
extend the time.
Yeah.
It really doesn't make sense. It's something that they're going forward with. And there's really no sense in going through the whole NOI process again
Yeah.
we'd end up in the same place.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so the request is to extend the order for 2 years. Would somebody like to make that motion?
Awesome.
No motion.
The second.
Hey,
Sorry, Teresa.
No.
all right, any discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor? Ken,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes.
All right, great. Thank you for hearing this tonight.
Thank you, John.
Hi, John.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Good night, John Boy.
Oh, Jim.
Elaine, you all good with that?
Oh, yeah, I'll send it out.
Okay. All right, we have some other business. I don't know if there's a particular order, Elaine, that you want to tackle these.
The only thing is, I spoke with Paul Ribicki.
Yeah, I'm on the phone. I'm
Oh,
on.
he's here. Okay, never mind. He wanted us to wait for him, but he's here. So that was the only thing. Other than that, the order doesn't matter.
All right, we have a tree removal request for 34 Mansfield Drive. Why don't we hit that first? I think I have that email here and the pictures. All right, I will share the letter. All right, you should be able to see the letter concerning 34
Yep.
Mansfield Drive. Letter is in reference to your proposal and trees assessed in that proposal. The multi-stem pine at the back left has split trunks and leans towards the house. The base of the trunks have included barking crotches and is susceptible to falling.
And then you have the pictures, Jim?
I've got the pictures also. Yeah, I'll share the pictures.
The back of the house.
Yes, it's in the back.
Yeah.
And Elaine, so you went out there, Elaine, right?
I went out there last Friday. I'm looking at my notes here. Multi-stem white pine. And it's actually 32, 34. So both of the property owners want it removed.
Right. I
It
saw
has,
the letter.
it also,
Right.
it also has the beginnings of the white pine blight. You
Was
can see
correct.
that the needles are getting very thin. It's about 25 feet from water off the side of a railroad track back there that drains water from Reedy Meadow. So the problem is that it's beginning to die. Number 34 has a swimming pool and it overhangs the swimming pool. The limbs have already started to fall. They're worried about larger limbs and they're worried about limbs falling on the children who play in the pool. The roots underneath, the water level is very high and the roots underneath are right at the surface and they are buckling up the patio that goes around the perimeter of the pool.
Elaine, is this the tree with the 4 trunks in question?
I'm sorry, can you put it up on the screen?
It is.
Why am I not seeing it? Hold on 1 second. Ah, yep, that's it. That's the tree.
Okay.
That's a single pine tree, huh? Wow. That's messy.
Okay.
So the pictures don't really pick it up, but those are the raised roots. Ah, there you go. You see how thin
Yeah.
those, you know, you can
This
already
side is
see
much
it's
thinner
affected.
than this side.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's on its way out.
Yeah.
It would be cutting down the entire tree, not that one trunk.
That's what they're looking for.
I mean, if this trunk's diseased, the others will follow.
And, you know, I took that picture because that picture showed it best in the photographs. And the other trees are more clustered together, so you can't see how thin it is. But this picture you see here is fairly representative of what the tree looks like. As a matter of fact, this is part of a stand of maybe 10 pines, and they've all got it.
What do they do for that? Is there any treatment?
I don't think there's any treatment for that blight. You can feed the tree and slow the progress of it, but you can't stop it. And you can treat the tree and you can keep it going for a bit longer, but you can't cure it.
Yeah.
And that blight will, I mean, will take down the tree, Elaine?
That's what white pines are dying all over New England. So yes, it will kill the tree.
So it first manifests in the thinning of the leaves, I guess.
Yes, yes. And then the needles just get thinner and thinner and thinner until there are no more. and then it's a dead tree, the bark starts to fall, the limbs, larger and larger limbs fall. But once you see that telltale mark, that tree is
Ah.
not long for further life. Yep.
Well,
Sounds like
I'd like to make a motion, take it down, that
Okay, is there a second?
Wait,
permit-
and to follow our
permit the-
tree policy, what needs to be done if we do that, though?
Nothing where it's diseased or dying.
I don't think they've got any place to put another tree anyways.
Okay, I'm sorry, I interrupted the vote, right?
I was looking for a second.
Second,
Okay. Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Ken,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Peter,
yes.
Teresa,
yes.
and I also vote yes. All right. Elaine, you'll send out a letter?
I will.
Okay. All right, next up is discuss and vote to issue letter of support for the open space and rec plan.
Judy sent a wonderful letter that I think we should
Yes.
adapt.
I would like
I-
to put in the record how much I thought was a thoughtfully written letter. It expresses my sentiments exactly.
I have not had a chance to see that.
Well, you're missing a masterpiece. Jim, I can't believe your letter is, you wrote, you're gonna sign such a nice letter.
It's just perfect.
In every way.
What are we doing?
Just like Judy.
I'm gonna
Sure.
I'm gonna share the letter. Since I actually haven't seen it yet. I'm not sure if other members of the commission have seen it either.
I saw it and responded immediately
You did.
with
And that
one
caused me
word,
to-
fabulous.
All right.
I saw it right now.
Yeah, letter's on screen. All right, everybody have a chance to review it?
Yeah, it works.
All right.
Oh, wait. There's not a junior after Luciani.
That is true.
And I always get confused. Jim, you like to have your name signed that way as opposed to Frank J. Luciani Jr., right? Is that correct? That's your
Frank-
preferred name?
Frank J. Luciani Jr.
Okay, so it's Judy, gotta correct that too. I thought that was right.
Okay, even though I've never spelled it that way.
Yeah, and the letters I've done for Jim, that's the way we do it. I
Junior.
thought so.
Was it signed in the right place? It wasn't signed yet, was it?
No,
Is there enough room there for the signature? I don't know if it's gotta go above or below.
There should be more space there.
Yeah, there should be 3 returns between sincerely and I'm just saying.
I don't want.
Oh, wait a minute. There's no salutation.
You're right. Dear
Greetings.
committee members, you're right, it's missing that.
it doesn't really need it.
Oh,
Every letter needs a salutation, Judy.
ladies and gentlemen of the
Yeah,
commission.
you can say that or dear committee members, one or the other.
So who's it to? As to the committee. I see.
I love the fact it's our committee.
I'm good at patting myself on the back.
I love it.
All right, so we're done with the edits.
I'm done with tearing apart this wonderful letter, right?
All right, would somebody like to make a
We had to
motion
build her
to
up and then
approve,
knock it down.
approve with those edits?
I'll move that we approve it with those edits.
Is there a
Second.
second? Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor? Ken,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes.
Judy, that's great work. And on just getting this whole project. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
Yes.
tremendous job, really.
Almost over.
Yeah.
Find another one for you.
All right. Eileen, you
So
ready
I
to?
just have a quick question, Judy. Do you send it to the state now for approval? Is that the next step?
It's getting sent to the state this week, and then we have to present to the planning board and town council. So the
Okay.
state will review it and give their comments and send it back, and we'll make whatever changes they suggest, and then it gets finalized.
Okay, thanks.
You present it to the council and the planning board before the state's comments, or wait till you get them back?
We'll wait till we get them back. Wait, I don't think it really matters because I don't
Yeah,
think that's
okay.
gonna make a difference to them, but.
Okay, Elaine, you ready to move on?
I am.
Judy, you ready?
Yes,
All right, so the only other agenda item I see here is discussion of wetlands bylaw.
I just wanted to gauge the interest in whether you wanted to go forward with it. I mean, at this point, it would be for the November town meeting. But where they're in the process of updating the general bylaws, I thought we could maybe roll this into it and, you know, in tandem with pulling out the setback bylaw, the stream setback bylaw that we had talked about before.
So
Right,
Judy, what do you mean by rolling it in?
Well, they're updating the bylaws right now, so we may be able to make that part of the process, you know.
To be
throw it in.
for November?
Correct, correct.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And
So
when
we
do we have
have
that?
a
When do we
broader,
have to have that in by, Judy?
Well, they have to be two public hearings, so it would be something that you could discuss now and then have the public hearings, and then in the start of the fall, you could submit it to the planning board and town council to get on the warrant.
I think, and I know Judy, you think it's likely to pass
I think so,
if we get enough people there at the
Right.
town meeting, right?
well, this would be our third attempt, right?
yeah, but this is gonna be the most concise, a limited scope. The setback, vernal pools, a bond,
Yeah.
so very limited. I think that makes it much more
Bond.
palatable.
And
A
it was very
performance
limited
bond.
last time too, even more so.
It was, yeah, it was much more limited. Much, yeah.
Right.
Mm.
You can memorialize the consultant rule as well.
Mhm.
Even though you voted on it, it's suggested to roll it into the bylaw.
Right, we have a policy, right?
Right, right.
I do see you sent around the max sample.
Well, it sounds like, Judy,
Bylaw.
it sounds like it's gonna be much reduced from the MACC and other town.
Yes,
Right. So I don't want to put this on you, but
but.
it seems like you have an excellent kind of sense of what it should look like. And we see your writing skills and strengths in drafting that letter.
Keep it coming.
So I'm going to make the bold suggestion to say that it would be wonderful. I think, I mean, again, I think it's worthwhile to go forward with it. And I think it'd be wonderful, Judy, if you would take this on, especially since you're going to have a lot of free time because the open space will be done.
Yes, yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. No, I'll put something
Billable
together.
hours.
Right,
Right, right.
Judy will not get, does not get paid quite that way. So, and again, that would be my recommendation if you.
Yeah,
if
I'll
you-
put something together and then you.
That'd
we
be
can toss
wonderful,
it around
Judy.
and- Yeah.
What type of time frame do you think? Knowing that, we've got some significant turnover here in the next few weeks.
Well, I would try to put something together before everyone leaves, just to get a feel for input from the experienced people who are leaving.
That would
Okay.
be great, and I'll
Yeah, that
commit
was my
to
plan.
reviewing it before, Judy,
Right,
that'd be great. So you
right.
plan, I didn't have to make this request at all.
I know.
I swear to
I already
God,
had it all
Judy.
planned out.
You could have made it a lot easier on me. It's unbelievable.
She just wanted to hear all the compliments.
Exactly. She
good.
wanted to see me. Exactly. All right.
I'm taking over Rebecca's spot with that.
Right, there we go.
So we have roughly 5 weeks or so. Yeah,
Before April 30th, right?
yeah. Okay,
So I'll try to get it together for the next meeting, just a rough draft, and then you can have some input.
sure, that sounds good. Circulate anything you have.
Yes.
I do see a hand raised. Bronwyn has her hand raised. Bronwyn, would you like to add something?
Yes, hi, thanks. Bronwyn Delavope, 8 Cyrus Street. Yeah, I would, if you guys are up for it, I would really encourage you to do this because I think the town is missing out because we don't have one specific to Wakefield. Mr. Chair, if I may ask through you to Judy, or anyone who can answer the question, what's the idea, the scope? You talked about it being smaller than it was before, or more restrictive, or more limited than it was before. And I understand that if something is just way too broad, it has less of a chance to pass a town meeting, which of course is not what we want. But, too restrictive, then, that's not great either. And the other question I had was, can a variance be requested for this?
That would be part of it. That's how you would, it would be the same as the general bylaws. You'd apply for a variance from the requirement.
Okay. Okay. I have a problem with a lot of variances. I mean, I feel that variances are, should be fairly rare and not just handed out, just too many requests and too many variances are being applied for. And in that case, what happens is the intent and the protections of our bylaws are undermined because of it. I mean, the bylaws are there for a reason. They're there. Sorry, Peter, is this boring?
No.
And that, variances, it should not be a regular kind of thing, which is nothing you can do about it. And there's not too much I can do about it at this point, but if you can
Brahman, I
keep
have a
that in
question.
mind when you're writing up the bylaw, it may help. But if someone here tonight could just give us a brief outline of what might be entailed in such a bylaw, that would be
Can I
great.
ask
Thank
you-
you.
Brahman, I want to ask you this. Most of the planning boards what they would put out there deal mostly with the structures, don't they? Not so much the land and that type of thing, isn't it? The variances that you're talking about?
The variances I'm
What-
talking
what are
about
they-
primarily
what are they
with the ZBA.
Yeah, the zoning board of appeal, right?
Okay, but
Right.
do they mostly deal with structure, easements, or modifications?
Mostly, but if we have a wetlands bylaw, which we do not now, the potential certainly is there for someone to want to undermine it.
No,
So,
I'm just trying to understand.
yeah,
how-
so let's just say there's a development or a house or something that would cause the wetlands bylaw, depending on how it's written, of course, would kick in. And the person wanting to build or whatever,
Mhm.
yeah, it doesn't, the wetlands protection bylaw in Wakefield doesn't fit with their plans. They would then request a variance to either all or part of that bylaw.
I don't know, is it variance the right, I just want to say, is variance the right word? I think that when I'm looking at the draft bylaw that we had looked at, we just state that the bylaw creates a presumption that has to be overcome by the commission, but we would, is what we would vote on called a variance, or is this?
It would
Not
be a
what you would
permit.
vote on, but what the, but what. A
It would be a permit.
developer would go to the ZBA with a plan. And that if that plan, that development plan makes the Wetlands Protection Act kick in, and that development plan can't go in without a variance to the Wetlands Protection Act, then it would be the ZBA who could have by right grant a variance, which would undermine the Wetlands Protection Act, just
So
like
what-
it would undermine any other bylaw that we have.
I think
The
we're talking
zoning
about
bylaw.
two different things. One is you get under the zoning bylaw, you can get a variance to the requirements of the zoning bylaw. But under
Right.
under ours, it's not called, again, I don't think it makes a difference what you call it, if it's called just getting a permit and there's a presumption. But so the point you're making, I think, Bronwyn, is we should be careful about overcoming the presumption about not doing it. And I think your comment is again understood, and I think that's a good thing to do.
Thank you.
But Judy, going to Bronwyn's other point, can you just give I know you just said it to us, but can you just say it again? What you think when you do your initial draft, what you think it will cover?
A 25-foot setback.
Which right now is just a policy. It's not a regulation, Bronwyn. Go ahead, Judy, I'm sorry.
Protections around vernal pools,
Right.
memorializing the consultant rule, and a performance bond.
So, and the consultant rule, I don't know if you know, Ron, we have the right by statute to require applicants to pay for our consultants. So we memorialize that in a policy that we adopted, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago. So, and Judy's suggesting we make that part of the bylaw. And then the last piece is that if you're doing any work, that's covered by our bylaw, that we require that the applicant posts a performance bond, which stays in place until the work is done, to make sure the work they're supposed to do to comply with our order is done, right, Judy?
Yes.
Thank you.
So, back to, I guess, the original comment, Bronwyn, there's kind of a sweet spot, right, to get something through at town meeting. Too restrictive, won't fly, and if it's too loose, why bother? Now, we have gone through this twice before and not been successful. The last time it was pretty straightforward what we wanted, and it just wasn't supported. And that was that the 25-foot setback?
It was, that was all it was.
Yeah, that's the only thing that was on it, and it didn't fly.
How long ago was
Third
that?
time's charm.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
It had to have been over 14 years ago, because I've been on the
No, it
commission.
wasn't. No, it was
No.
not that long ago.
Wouldn't have been that long ago.
No, it
5?
was not. I was on the
5 years?
commission.
Yeah, maybe
And
5.
it lost by like 5 votes, Peter. It was awful. It was heartbreaking.
But
Heartbreaking.
wait, how long ago were you on the commission then?
It was
It was during the
fairly
past 6
recent.
years.
I believe, if I may, my take is that I believe public sentiment has changed tremendously in the last few years. So depending on how this is presented at town meeting, my feeling is, knowing what I know about how people are feeling in town, I think it would have a better chance of passing now. That's just my,
It's
And that
all
was
about who
Judy's
shows
sense
up,
too.
right?
Right,
yes.
All about who shows
right,
up.
exactly. It's horrible that last vote, again, lost by just so few votes. Jim was there.
I think you're talking about the stream setback, the repeal of the stream setback.
Yes.
Yes, that was a ZBA bylaw. That wasn't a conservation bylaw.
Eleanor, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, it was along the same lines, just trying to find out when exactly these two were presented and to look at the language around them, and just for my own edification, understanding what people found difficult about it. That's all.
Yeah, I don't remember what the opposition was, you know,
The one you're
the,
talking about was the stream setback.
yeah, and what was the general feeling that,
Because there was a misunderstanding of the overlap between the commission's jurisdiction
Right, okay, that's
and
totally,
also how the ZBA could decide on a variance without having that background. They were deferring to the commission.
Mhm. So am I right then that the last time there was a bylaw that discussed the 25-foot setback, which is a principal thing, that was a long time ago?
Yes, correct.
Okay, that's right.
correct.
Okay, That's
And
what I,
that, at that point, there were fines attached to it, and that's
Right.
what sunk it. And
Yeah,
that
that
would be
one-
part of this.
that one may have been 15 years ago.
Yes, but that's what ultimately killed it.
Yeah,
I would agree, there's a little more awareness now, sorry.
yeah, I was gonna say if you asked, see if you had another question. Yeah, there seems to be more awareness, but again, it's who shows up, right?
Right.
How these things tend to work. You know, oftentimes any, you know, interest group can get something passed when they show up to the numbers.
Right. There's no quorum required at the town meeting. It's the majority, whoever shows up.
Right. But I think if it can be done in tandem with the repeal of the other bylaw, then that streamlines the permitting process, and that's also a positive point for the bylaw.
Yeah,
because
that's a
we're not going to
logical,
two different boards.
that's a logical way to go about it.
And where it's only a few items that are covered, I mean, the 25-foot setback is already an accepted standard, even though it's only a policy. It's never been used to deny a project, and it's never been appealed by a petitioner. So I think the more important thing I wanted to see was the protection of the vernal pools. And I think the performance bond issue is important because the replication work tends to get left to the end and then maybe given short shrift. So I think that's important to have that upfront.
And with the vernal pools, it'd be any vernal, even if it's not certified, correct?
Certified,
Correct.
Well, I think you have to do something in there for the vernal pools especially. That, that puts money aside. They should not be able to draw all the money off until this vernal pool has gone through like 2 seasons or something, because that's where you're gonna get the most resistance to trying to fix something. That's
Yeah.
the most expensive time for them to operate, so you have to add something in there for that.
But
And
there's
then
only
as far as
protection
the
around it.
As far as the 25-foot setback, I'm really thinking that, I don't know how you planned on writing it up, but you should have maintained the 25-foot, but you should have the ability to go less if we felt it was necessary.
There is,
Yeah,
and that's part
there
of
is.
the permitting process.
Yeah.
So if
Right, there's an
you
out.
if you can replicate what's reasonable to the commission, then you would get,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's not a hard, fast 25.
No, 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 no.
Yeah, yeah, we've had
It
this
would be
discussion
applied the
before.
same as it is now.
Exactly.
Okay.
We are
So I'll put
reasonable.
that together and see if I find anything else interesting to throw
So,
in.
Judy, I should look at it, but what's the penalty then if you don't comply?
If you don't comply with the bylaw, it has set performance standards similar to what's in the Wetlands Protection Act.
Right, so there are no fines.
No, it would
So-
be an enforcement order, same as it is now.
Okay, it'd just be
Yeah.
an enforcement order under the bylaw in addition to under the,
Correct.
Would it be
Okay.
in addition to or in place of
no,
enforcement?
no, not be in place of.
Okay, so you're still, the state law still is in effect to the extent our bylaw does not cover a particular,
Right, the
Matt.
bylaw would be more restrictive.
right?
Well, it has to be more restrictive
Yeah.
because that's the only way you can put a bylaw in.
Right,
Right.
But I thought that the Board of Appeals had the authority to override our bylaws, or if we had an
No.
existing bylaw,
No.
They can recommend that.
No, I
It
think,
doesn't mean you have
I
to
think-
stand by it.
I believe that they have, because it is.
In their own order, they can do that. They can ignore the commission's policies and bylaws. If you had a bylaw, then the bylaws don't count. You're talking about a 40B, is that right?
That's in the 40B, right?
Right,
But they still have to follow state regulations.
correct.
Yeah,
But I think it was explained to me that that is, if it's a town bylaw, it's the town's bylaw, not.
Then it can be
conservation
waived under
bylaw.
40B, that's correct.
No,
but-
but you don't want to do that though, right? You don't want to just tie it
No,
to 40B.
But even if you had a 25-foot setback bylaw, under the Wetlands Protection Act, you still have the ability to set 25 feet as a setback. So they
Yeah,
can't
I
waive that.
understand.
So it's not going to matter. It's going to make it a moot point.
Okay, I think there's a little more discussion on this. Let's do, because I don't think that's quite right.
And what do you think, Jim?
I'm explaining what I think. What I was told was that where it is related to the 40B, but I think
It's only for 40B projects. Okay, only 40B, which says that the
Well-
zoning bylaws don't apply, but the Wetlands Protection Act does apply.
correct.
Right.
but it becomes you are more restrictive than the Wetlands Protection Act. So it's a bylaw that the town owns now in a way. I'm using the
Yeah,
wrong
so if it's
word.
more restrictive, a 40B, again, it takes precedence over that. I understand. But that's
But
true. But
does,
it
can
doesn't mean we
40
shouldn't do it.
but 40B can't override the state,
Not the
Right.
Wetlands Protection Act, right,
Right.
no,
the WPA, because that was the situation with the one we had to deal with.
right,
Right.
that's right.
Eleanor, did you have another question? Oh, you muted.
Hi.
Oh, you got muted again somehow. Oh, can't hear you.
Haley, you got a bird on your head.
Wait, here we go.
I got two.
Sorry about that. Yeah, may I ask another question?
Sure.
How, I guess, what are other towns doing? Like, what's sort of the standard? Are they putting in 50 feet? And just curious, if you do the minimum, 25, does it make it harder? If the local bylaw talks about the 25 versus the full 100 in the Wetlands Protection Act?
It varies from town to town, depending
You'd be
on
out
the,
of-
development in the town, how much space they have and all that. 25 is fairly consistent.
Right. We, yeah, I mean, you ever tried to do 50 feet? I mean, you have some lots in Wakefield, the whole house lot is in the buffer zone. I mean, it's not realistic for this town. There's a lot of small lots in this town, and the people, if they're looking for 1 or 2 feet extension on their house, it gets kind of hard to, you gotta weigh out what you're losing and what you're gaining.
Yeah, that would be hard to pass. That would be very restrictive.
Not many towns have more than 25 feet.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's a good point, starting point, 25 feet. We have a hard time trying to maintain that. We don't,
Yeah.
really. It's a constant battle. I mean,
Yeah, most of-
we're fortunate that we got them to go to the 25. I mean, it took years of telling them it's 25, it's 25. Well, Rebecca, we had telling everyone it's 25, and then we went in there and said, okay, 22, or something to that effect, which was not good.
Bronwyn, you had another question?
Yes, real quick, because I see that Paul had his hand up too. This would be a question through you, Mr. Chair, for Elaine. Does Winchester have a wetlands protection bylaw?
They do.
It does, yes.
Okay, all right. So that would be a logical thing to do, is to take a look at 3 or 4 or 5 other towns' bylaws and look at their language and what they include in how.
Yes, that's what Judy is gonna be doing, Bronwyn.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
have a number of town bylaws already that we've looked at and have in our emails.
Thank you.
Probably at least a half a dozen. Plus we have the MAC,
Right, the Massachusetts Association
Yeah.
of Conservation Commissioners.
template for
Right.
bylaw too. So
And
there's a lot
there's
of
one more
resources,
question.
and obviously we don't have to reinvent the wheel. All right, anything else concerning this? All right, more to follow. Judy's gonna put something together for us. Like I said, we do have a number of other towns' bylaws. We've already been given and looked at, and we do have a template at our disposal. So we will be following up and more to come on this topic at our next meeting on April 2nd.
Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Judy.
Elaine, do you have anything else?
I have a couple of odds and ends. Judy is my first one. Have you heard anything more about applicants to Rebecca's job?
And that's my question too.
No, there've been only those two.
We haven't seen
Only-
those. We discussed those two, have we?
I don't know if they were even entertained. I can ask Amy.
Well,
Yeah,
what
I
did
did
you
ask,
tell
I
us?
did
What you-
ask if there's been any more, and I haven't heard anything
No, I
back.
asked today. There haven't been any.
Okay,
Can we discuss briefly what the quality of the two applicants were? The two applications were?
One didn't have much experience at all, fairly new out of college.
Mhm.
She's a land steward now. And the other had experience, but she's 2 hours away.
Yeah, that's not good.
No.
Thank you.
So where do we go from here?
Amy's looking at other places to post the opening.
Do
we
we know?
post on the Mac website?
Yes,
Okay,
Mac, MMA, a couple of others. I think she's going to put it up on Indeed.
Okay, MSMCP is good too.
Yeah,
And
and they share a lot of the same stuff with MACC.
MACC.
Yeah,
And the circuit rider, the DEP circuit rider sometimes sends things out and around.
Yeah.
So, you know, they hit existing conservation agents, but it does get the word out. So if an agent knows of somebody, at
Yeah.
least that
there's
word gets better.
there's so many open positions.
Right, this is gonna be a long haul to find someone.
Yeah,
Oh, I was
Okay.
curious whether the part-time thing might have, Elaine, your point about you made a really interesting point about the part-time, that maybe that actually was a differentiator, that the other ones were looking for full-time, and maybe there was people who can't work full-time but would entertain part-time.
Right,
So,
that may be a plus.
right, so
oh,
maybe,
that's right. It was something we kind of, well, it would be good to know as we try to, figure out
Yeah.
what we need.
maybe
That'd
this
be-
strengthens your argument to the finance committee for a full-time person.
It's kind of what I'm thinking.
all right.
Yeah, I think the people who want a part-time job are a lot fewer than the people who want a full-time job. I mean, they're out
Mhm.
there, but
Yeah.
I think for every 20, for every 50, who knows, who want a full-time job, there's 2 that want a part-time job. It's just people want to work full-time now.
And get benefits.
Perhaps
Especially
for-
when it's something looking for like degrees and experience,
Right.
Yeah,
something so
Yeah.
specific.
Yeah, and somebody wanting benefits. So.
you know, even when I worked part-time for Winchester, I wound up supplementing it with a job from Wakefield. So even when you want to work part-time, you kind of wind up,
Right,
working-
cobbling together, right.
well,
Well, that was,
okay.
that we down to our benefit.
So it
Um,
would be interesting to know, from Amy, for example, if there's a job, let's say for a town planner, does that get 50 applications that they get to choose from and we get 2? I think that would be very interesting to know if
I
we're
don't think they
getting
had a
real
boatload of, I don't
paucity
think they had a
of
boatload of
applications.
applicants.
Say what?
I don't think they had a boatload of applicants for that.
For the town planner?
Correct. That's another
Okay.
position that there are a lot of postings for.
Huh,
Okay.
interesting.
All right. Okay.
Elaine, you
right.
said you had a second question for Judy?
No, just about the, how finding somebody to replace Rebecca was going, and,
Okay.
I guess it's not going real well. I do have a few other odds and ends.
Okay,
One of them is 2 Angem Lane. So last meeting, Henry Q was here, and he talked about an extension. And I said I'd send it to him on his enforcement order. So I looked through the file, I didn't see one, and then I went back through the minutes of this entire period, and I found discussions of the fact that he could not make the time period. But I never saw there was an actual vote to give him an extension. So what I'm here now for is to request that the Conservation Commission formally issue an extension permit so I can get something in the file and send it to him. There
and that was
seemed
to June
understanding
29th?
that it had been issued, but I can't find it anywhere, and I can't find a vote in the minutes.
All right, was it June 29th we had talked about, or
July, I think, wasn't it?
July?
Yeah, it was July.
July 30th.
Okay. All right, so would somebody like to make a motion to extend that order until July 30th?
Motion.
Jim Lane,
Okay, all right, I got
And
it. I
somebody-
can send the letter now.
oh, wait a minute, hang on, we're voting, right?
Once you vote.
Yeah, somebody like to make that motion?
Haley just did.
Okay,
A
sorry, I
motion.
didn't hear it. Second,
You voted to extend it at the
I'll
last
second.
We
meeting.
did. We voted it last time, Elaine. I don't understand why doing
Yeah.
it again.
Because I thought, okay, well, I didn't have that. I just thought there were, I guess that because at that
We
point
did.
I was
Look at the
for a
minutes
letter.
from last week that we approved just before. We
All
already
right.
you already approved it.
all right,
Okay,
can we get?
all right,
should we
I'll get the
there?
letter out. All
Okay,
right.
You want to vote it anyways, just in case it's not?
It's already
It's already
voted.
it's in the minutes. We just approved the minutes.
Okay, all right. Oh, you caught me. I didn't get a chance to look at the minutes. My apologies. And then the last thing was the vernal pools. And that's all I have. The vernal pools at the vote.
what?
Paul
What's-
and Becky wrote a letter about that, right, Elaine?
That is right.
Yeah, I'm on the phone here, and I would say there's actually been 2 things. First, on December 21st, I wrote a letter to the Conservation Committee with my summary of concerns about gross contamination of the only certified vernal pool at NEMT, which is Wetland 5. I provided video and pictures of the vernal pool that looked like it had chocolate pudding mixed into it. I got a response immediately from Rebecca. She called me up. She said that she was going to go up and inspect the site. She wanted a lot of precise details and feedback, which I gave her. She said she was on her way that day, and I never heard anything for like a week and a half. A week later, I got a letter from her that was written by Tyler Ferrick, and it says, "Hi, Rebecca, just following up with the email. The stormwater pollution prevention monitor has been out there frequently and made sure the erosion controls are in place. I went out on Friday, observed that they are in place and that they were all in working condition and that we did not observe any evidence of sediment in making it past the devices." I don't know if it made it past the devices, but the pool was severely contaminated. I never did another thing. But what I did notice is throughout the winter, since I hike 3 to 5 times a week up there, I noticed that vernal pool, the only vernal pool certified there, was grossly shrunk since the beginning of February. When the blasting ended and they started doing foundation work, all of a sudden it started running dry, while wetlands 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and others in Breakheart were either at 100% or 90% full. So I wrote a letter asking, and the next thing I heard was I heard from Elaine stating that her and Jim were to go out and look at the site on Sunday. So I'm curious what you guys saw. What was your impression of it relative to the other wetlands?
I didn't think Wetland 5 was certified. Was it certified?
It is the only certified vernal pool at NEMT.
Lorraine, wasn't it listed as not certified on the drawing?
You know what? There was after we came back, Jim, I went
Yeah.
back to the files again, and there was an amendment to
Okay.
the original plan that I had looked at, which was from Mass Mapper, that
Yeah.
had this certified pool. So the original documents that I had looked at were outdated, and then when I went back in the file, I found the update that this is a pool.
Okay. Well, I've been up there a few times.
And we
And
found frogs in it. And we found frogs in it.
Wait, when did you find the frogs?
Sunday.
Okay, but Sunday when I was there, an hour after you, there's virtually no water in that.
There is
wetland.
no water. There were some poor
there is no
things.
water in it.
They were
Right.
hopping around in a
Yep.
tiny little pool.
All right, so let's talk about the big picture. Certainly there were frogs in it, but if you go to the other wetlands nearby, there are actually frogs in the water singing, happy instead of struggling for their life.
Well,
So
they're in that one too. They're in that one too, evidently, because they were singing while we were there.
well, you know what? When I provided the letter to the Conservation Committee, what I did is I provided what Oxbow found out when they did their resource delineation
Yeah,
about the average
yeah,
depth
yeah.
is 28 inches, the
Yeah.
size of it, the egg
Yeah.
masses. So there's no question it's a functioning vernal pool that has been
Yeah.
severely degraded.
Yeah.
And what I did is earlier today, I provided pictures that showed, if you could bring them up, it'd be awesome. But there's a picture of vernal pool 5 on Sunday that's empty. And then you look at the wetland 6, it's 75, 80% full. You look at all the other wetlands, they're certainly shrinking by the day, but there's a lot of water and it's not dry. And this thing
Yeah.
was dry on the 1st. It's been dry multiple times. The photo I showed in my photos are provided today that shows wetland 5 with no water on Sunday, shows wetland 6 almost full on Sunday. It also shows a picture of wetland 5 with no water in a couple of weeks ago, but full of dirt, sand, and sediment that is clear.
Wetland 5?
Yeah, wetland 5. You need to look at the photos that I sent today to Elaine. If she could bring them up online, that would be awesome.
I only work on Fridays. I don't have those.
Well, I sent
I
it to the
get them-
Conservation
Get
Committee
them later,
too.
but I don't have them right now.
Okay, but I did send it to your personal and also to the Conservation Committee website today. I'd be
Sorry.
happy to provide it. So anyhow, my concern is that I understand it doesn't have much protection, maybe no protection. And when I got a call from Bill Renault, he told me that he's not at all surprised that it's shrinking and that it's disproportionate to the others. He said 40 to 50% of the inflow has now been diverted during the transition and the construction, and that the water will be replenished, down the road. So
Yeah, well, that's, okay. Because me and
could be
Elaine,
a couple years.
we came to that conclusion as well, me and Elaine did, because it's obviously that the work's gone on their side. And there was a drainage area map for those vernal pools, wasn't there, Elaine, you were gonna look for? Because I do agree with you. I think the issue is that they filled it with crushed stone, which is used for drainage.
No, they didn't put any crushed stone in it. The crushed stone is right next to
No,
it.
but they've got crushed stone up to the fence that they put in.
Correct. There's no buffer at all. And those
No,
piles
so
are
I
10
mean,
foot high.
if it rains, the water's going anywhere on that site, because it's all crushed stone.
Right.
And it's gonna stay that way until the system is in that's gonna feed it, but I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know if the salamanders and the frogs are gonna survive. I mean, I've seen it go down the last 3 or 4 days. One time I went in there, they had to be maybe a foot of water. And it did not take long for it to go down to what we saw Sunday, which was not much at all. It's like a muddy puddle.
Right. Monday it was dry. And you could walk across it on Sunday. So the issue is Bill Renault told me that they are allowed to even fill it, that it's not really protected. So if that's true, I don't know any of the rules. It's just disheartening to see the only wetland that
Right.
That's up there that's being affected is being severely contaminated with sediment. Then Tyler writes an email saying there's no sediment. I need you guys as the committee to at least look at the pictures that I showed with video back on December 21st. It shows it looks
Well,
like chocolate pudding.
Well, send it to us, because I didn't.
I did. I sent it to the Conservation Committee website.
I just forwarded it, Jim.
Yep.
Okay.
So that was sent earlier. And what it
Okay.
does is clearly there's only a total of 6 items. The first
Right.
is picture 5 showing it dry, 6 3/4 full, and then I show you the contamination from back in December. You know, not relevant to today, but there's been so much contamination to that vernal pool that I need you to look at the pictures in the video and tell me, how could Tyler Ferrick write an email back on the 27th, which I forwarded, that says that there's no evidence of any sediment making it past. Maybe that's true, that it didn't happen, but it got there somehow, whether it's all the clouds of dust
Yes.
that were coming from the blasting, massive clouds of dust, which we have videos of, and with zero buffer. There's just no buffer at all. You know, that is a dead vernal pool on its way out. So, and in tandem with that, I just wanted to go on record that I wrote to the new Northeast Metro Tech website, and I asked them 2 weeks ago, could you tell me how many rodenticide filled bait boxes are on the NMT website? And would you please consider removing the multiple bait boxes?
Yeah,
that
we
were
saw, you did see those
summit of the
emails.
hill? Right. And the response that they gave me after waiting for 2 weeks, I get an email yesterday from Anthony Lopresti saying, we have received your 2 complaints that you issued to the Concom and Mass Pesticide. The project team is in communication with authorities having jurisdiction, and no further action is required on this jurisdiction. Hey, the question is, it's stupid putting poison on the summit of a hill next to a forest where there's all these raptors. So I understand what they're doing is legal because they're using exempt rodenticides, but it just is so infuriating that there's really no people complaining about a rat problem at the summit of the hill. So they should have the courtesy and respect to answer my question, which I'm going to post on the website tomorrow, asking the same question. But it's just complete disrespect to a taxpayer and a concerned citizen. And my main point is that it's unequivocal that if you look at that wetland 5, it's missing a lot of inflow, a lot, for a long
Yeah,
time.
I agree with you. I know it is.
Okay, so that's all I'm reporting. I don't know any of the rules. I respect, and I'm so proud of this conservation committee for the awesome job that you did with NEMT. So all I'm asking is, you know, if there's anything that we can do to leverage and say, hey, that pool is dying. Let's do something to move that crushed stone. Let's have a little bit of buffer. Let's have a little bit of courtesy to not destroy the one and only wetland that they have a chance to screw up today. Pretty soon they may have the chance to screw up the other 9 wetlands.
So isn't this DEP's fight?
Yeah, again, did you write the DEP? We don't have any jurisdiction over this anymore, right? The DEP does. So did you write the DEP?
He said he talked to Tyler, right?
Negative. No, I did not. I did not talk to DEP. I was told that I wasn't allowed to talk to DEP because I'm a party of the 10 citizen petition.
It's on appeal. Okay.
And I just wanted to inform you, I respect every awesome thing that you've done. And if you can't do anything, I just want to make you aware, because if someone goes looking at the site tomorrow, what they're going to see is wetlands 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. They're now 75, 80% full, maybe 85% full. Next week, they could be 70% full, but wetland 5 keeps going dry. And it's all dramatically different since the end of January. So prior to that, I've taken so many pictures for over a year of that site that I can show you the sequence. But the bottom line is that it's something to do with either blasting or the foundation work, or maybe, as Jim said, there's tons of crushed stone piled up right at the buffer. Something is preventing the inflow. Bill Renault's aware of it. He hit the nail on the head. It's about half of the flow of normal. It's still, when there's a heavy rain, the puddle, it's a vernal puddle. It'll get wet, but it's nowhere where it should be in the spring, and it's not correlating with any of the other wetlands. So that's where it's at. So I thank you for anything you could do, even listening to me, but I beg you to look at the pictures and understand what's going on there, because it's clear wetland 5 is dying today. And that's all I can really add.
All right, thank you, Paul.
Well,
Haley
you know,
just,
there's something you could look into too, because I Googled tonight, protection of wetland, of vernal pools, and they come up with a bunch of like 5 different, groups of organizations that monitor that, Maybe you want to look at that and see if there's anyone that can respond better.
And you know what? Why can't the Voc at least tell me when I ask them with capital PLEASE, can they please remove the couple of bait boxes right next to the Article 97 land, poisoning other wildlife through secondary poisoning or primary poisoning? It is, nobody's complaining of rat problem at the summit of the hill.
We
I'm
can't
not-
answer that question.
Yeah, okay.
Paul, you had someone, you, last time I spoke with you, you told me that you had someone from the state that you were talking to.
They
That was
came
gonna
out,
go out.
they did a walkthrough. I sent an email back explaining it to you, and it basically, they said that the Voc is using 25B exempt pesticides, and there's nothing they can do. They're
Okay.
not regulated. So they're using pesticides that are 25B, not regulated pesticides. So there's
Did he
nothing.
tell I'm sorry. I came back from another job and I went immediately into this one and I didn't have time. I just didn't have time to read it. Can you tell me if he examined them to see if they were using anticoagulant traps?
Negative. No, I've already documented this and
They're
sent
not.
this to you and the Conservation Committee. They are using second generation anticoagulant rodenticides. They're using the stuff that you and I can buy at Home Depot. Supposedly, that's what they told him. Now,
All right.
Nothing
this is
waiting.
the state inspector. There's 2 different categories of stuff. The second generation stuff, you have to have a license and all this other stuff. So there's nothing that they're doing illegal. I understand that, but it's unethical, immoral, and there's not a problem with rats on the summit of the hill. The
All right,
bait-
Harry, hey, Paul, I gotta cut you off. You definitely made your point. We understand, we hear
All
what
right.
you're saying.
All right.
But this discussion has gone on quite a while. It wasn't on the agenda. And that's kind of not even fair to others who may have wanted to chime in, but it is out of our hands.
Understood. No worry, no worry. I just kept copying. It's obvious that stuff I've been sending hasn't made it through to the, and I understand you're short-staffed, Rebecca's gone, and that you guys have volunteered, so I really appreciate.
Yeah, but we've
Sincerely.
lost control of the project.
Understood, but now at least you know some more public input, and if there's nothing you can do, there's nothing you can do.
We will certainly look at the pictures you sent. Haley just pulled them off the commission website. We'll look at those and we will, discuss whatever options are available.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, our hands are pretty much tied.
Thanks so much.
You're very
You know,
welcome.
me and Elaine talked about possibly if, once there's egg masses out there, moving them to the big wetland in the front, wetland 1. If anyone would be interested in trying to do that.
Move what?
Do
Move
what,
the
Jim?
egg mass. There's no egg masses yet that we could see, but I mean, that's the next step, to have egg masses out there that you could move to, because if they don't have the water, I don't think they're gonna live.
They won't.
They
So
won't.
if you can move something down to to wetland 1, I mean, that
Well,
might be something.
we can't even go on the project property right now.
Right, exactly.
Well, you'd have-
We're
you'd have
not
to
even
ask-
allowed on there anymore, Jimmy.
You'd have to ask them if you can go on there. I mean, you're not
Yeah,
gonna just.
But
you'd
we've
have to
lost our
ask.
ability to enter the project.
Huh?
We've lost our ability to enter the property.
No, I understand that, but, there's nothing that says you can't call them and just ask them.
There's also, we found, when Jim and I were out there on Sunday, we found a wetland on the far side of the trail that goes under the power lines. So that's a possibility. That's not on any empty property.
Yeah. That might be a good one too.
Hey, I've got something else I gotta take care of here, so I either need to drop off or we need to wrap up.
So can
I
I
have
just,
more.
go ahead, Elaine.
I have nothing more.
Oh, can I ask you a question? Bob, real fast, which is, Elaine, how are you doing? I know you're working 2 jobs, it's hot. How are you doing? I want to find out how Elaine is doing.
I'm getting tired. I really, I, as much as I enjoy the work, I really would like to see Rebecca's position filled.
Yeah.
It is, I mean, I'm now that I'm full-time in Winchester, those 5 hours on a Friday afternoon, they're still there. They're turning out to be about 7.
Right, I was
And
gonna
then
say, and,
a couple of times I've had to come in on a Saturday or a Sunday to finish up. So I'm
And are you
working like 6 days a week. So
are you
it was good.
compensated for those extra hours, Elaine?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I'm compensated. I charge by the hour.
Okay,
When
okay.
I spoke with Steve, he said just charge as a consultant would and charge for your
Right,
hours.
gotcha.
I do.
Okay.
That's all fine, but
Yeah, it's just, you're doing a
a
job.
lot
in-
of hours. It's a lot of
yeah.
hours a week.
Well, we appreciate you, Elaine, very much. I don't know what we'd do without you.
Well, thank
And
you.
And Judy, both.
Yes, thank you both.
Yes.
Can I just mention one thing? There are 2 articles coming up on the town meeting in April. One is 50 Quantipower Parkway. There's a proposal for a storage company, like storage units on that lot.
Oh my gosh, that'd be horrible.
Right, and there's also a proposal for a marijuana dispensary at Audubon Road.
Yeah.
Off, I guess at the end of Teal Road, somewhere down there.
Yes.
So it might be something you want to look up for the town meeting.
So
Yeah,
Judy,
was that something they were gonna have a storage area zone? Like it was gonna be like a special self-storage zone by the lake?
Yes.
That
so it's
almost-
it's an amendment to the zoning bylaw, Judy, to allow this
It's a
zoning?
Warren article, right, to allow
But-
in that overlay zoning, yes.
Is there something that's even, that just somehow didn't even make sense on its face to me, and I didn't understand.
Just something to think about.
Yeah.
Have you seen a drawing of it? How high it is or anything like that? Judy, have you
Yes,
seen it?
that's why my hand is up, that I'm very concerned about this. It's a, the reason for the overlay district is because 50 Quantipower Parkway would not allow self-storage facility there. The other thing that you guys are gonna have to weigh in really pretty heavily on this, and I hope that I can forward the maps again, the site maps, but it appears that the northwestern corner of the proposed building goes right through the 20-foot buffer zone line. And that the way Attorney McGrail described it at the meeting, planning board meeting the other night, was that the Conservation Commission is going to have to weigh in quite heavily because the wetlands delineation has not been finalized there. And it
So we'll
looks
be
like it
expecting
comes
a
very
filing
close.
then.
Right, yeah, it'll be before us.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, hopefully, yes, but I
It
don't
has
know
to be.
when,
it
because,
has to be.
It has to be.
well, they have to be, but town meeting's coming up pretty quick, and
But that
that,
has to do with zoning, not with the Wetlands Protection Act, 2 different
Right.
things.
I know that.
Okay,
But what I'm talking to you about is, I think that it's gonna be kind of a lengthy discussion, because the wetland delineation lines, they're up for grabs right now in that area. And that's why I think it would take quite some time for you guys to look at it, go out, the site visits, go out there and work with Mr. McGrail, because they're planning a up to 50-foot self-storage facility right there, immediately adjacent to 100 Quantipower Parkway.
Is it 50 feet tall? Or is it 50
Up
feet
up
long?
to 50 feet. I'm not quite certain, but I did hear no taller than 50. But still, it seems to fit right on the one of the existing 25-foot buffer lines. So it looks like the Conservation Commission is going to have to be highly involved in that before they can even go to town meeting with it.
If it's within 100 feet, they're coming before us.
right, exactly, no matter
So,
what town meeting does,
yeah.
right?
Okay, well, that's why I'm kind of surprised you guys don't know about it yet, because
But it's not a project yet, it's not before
Exactly.
us. We have no jurisdiction until it comes before us, Bronwyn. So when it comes before us, we'll deal with it.
There's
But
been
we
no
can't-
filing.
We can't, yeah, we can't deal with it until there's a filing to us.
Yeah, but can I just ask, is this a proposal for a planning board? What is it?
Are they, or is it a zoning warrant going before town meeting?
it's a zoning overlay zoning district.
Yeah,
Yes.
So can I ask what, you would think that.
Hey,
that
I really need to drop here.
right.
Okay,
So
so do the host,
either-
we should make a motion to adjourn.
yes.
I'll move that.
All right, second.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Ken,
Yes.
Haley. She's having difficulties with her audio, I can see.
Yeah.
Jimmy,
Yeah.
Paul,
Yes.
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes,
and I also vote yes. All right, I'm sorry, I just had to take care of something.
okay,
Don't
thank
do it-
you.
don't do
Thank
it
you
again.
all.
Everybody.